LPT, to all young teenagers looking for their first job, do not have your parents speak or reply for you. There's a certain respect seeing a kid get a job for themselves. We want to know that you want the job, not just your parents. Be nervous as fuck, but be by yourself. It shows independence and self-motivation, which even if shaky, it's better than none. I can appreciate an applicant being nervous, and I even take it into account during an interview. When I see parents hassling me to hire their kid, I have to guess and take a chance on whether or not the kid even wants to work. This is a little mind-boggling. I grew up in a smallish Midwestern town and it's laughable that I would have expected to get a job if my parents did it for me, and I'm a millennial. What the hell is going on? Yeah, I grew up in a bigger town, and not a chance in hell would my parents have asked a potential employer if I could be hired on. Even if they were like that, there was no way I would have agreed. My parents would whoop my ass if I asked them to persuade an employer to get me a job. Why is this even a thing? Be independent and be yourself. Sure, it's not what you know, it's who you know, but you can't depend on someone else to do something for you, even if it's your parents. Why aren't kids more independent these days? Suburbs. It's not just millennials, we are simply the generation that had the most exposure to the suburb lifestyle. A safe place without a lot of conflicting lifestyles or ideas. Protecting kids from the harsh reality of life. It's what parents want to do, and more of them have the ability than they used to. Maybe it's just my experience, but I think an unintended consequence of suburbs is that they discourage freedom and exploration. Suburbs are the worst parts of urban living combined with the worst parts of rural living. There isn't usually much within walking distance and there probably isn't a bus system. People have yards, but not enough open space for most activities. Going out or doing anything often requires adult assistance. It's not the kids are lazy, there just isn't anything exciting outside for them. By design mostly. For example, I live in a suburb and we continually turn down a bus system/rail station into the city. 2 words, arrested development. And to think, a few generations ago 16-year-olds were leaving Italy, Ireland, Germany, etc. and coming to the new world, and making a life for themselves. It's a broad apples to oranges comparison, but there's some metal missing with some people. I don't want to blame it on a generation, so I can't say where this is all coming from. After all, it's not like it's all millennials, just like how it wasn't all Gen Zers that were like this when they were that age. When someone starts on complaining about millennials, I just think, who raised them that way? It was their parents who handed them the participation trophies. Oh man, I remember my first interview. Came totally unprepared, lost my voice a couple times due to nervousness, rambled on when asked questions, and when asked, "Do you have any questions for us?" Nope. That's similar to how my first one went. I was shaking, I was so nervous and my mind blanked for every answer. After dozens of interviews it gets so much easier though. After a certain point, you realize interviewers are just people, and it's usually just a conversation. Seems obvious, but it's hard to internalize. That's how I got over talking to girls in high school. I would be so nervous that I couldn't get 2 words out, but then one day I heard somebody talking about my crush's flaws. In hindsight, she was not the brightest bulb. After that it kind of clicked that everyone is just a person, no matter how intimidating that seems. If you have your parents speaking for you now at the time of application, they think your parents will be a pain in the ass to deal with when you screw up, and your parents come to the rescue on your behalf. Got my first job when my mom went down to the grocery store and applied for me. I was in the store, so he asked to see me. I came over, small chat, boom, had a job as we left the store. This is to say, it really depends on your location and the type of person the manager is. I got lucky, admittedly. I think a lot of parents never got the memo that we are not raising children, we are raising adults. Our job as parents is to prepare our kids to be well-rounded, independent, confident, and resilient adults. Raising adults is hard, and it doesn't start when they turn 18, by then it is too late. It starts early, and it is an ongoing process. When your toddler starts talking, do you encourage baby talk, or do you model and praise the proper use of words? When your 3-year-old tries to pour some juice for herself, do you take away the cup and do it for her, or do you get her a plastic cup and let her try it on her own? And when she spills the juice, do you clean it up for her, or do you help her get some paper towels and teach her how to clean up spills? Those are the kinds of decisions that make the difference. You obviously are doing a great job, and your daughter will be much better off as an adult because of it. Dude, I'm fucking 23 years old and my mom still calls my work to make sure I'm there. Baby boomer helicopter parents will be the demise of me. *I''am getting a lot of it's your fault. I was sent away at 16 and was independent 4 years before now. Beware, this could become a routine, which is her way of keeping you from growing up on your own and leaving the nest. You'll know for sure when every time you take a step towards becoming more of an adult she tries to sabotage it, or becomes needy and starts relying on you to take care of her, so you can't get ahead. Some people like this also can try to convince you that you aren't capable of accomplishing your goals to try to talk you out of trying. It could be something else and not this bad, but I'd watch for the signs, and in the meantime, tell her to stop calling your work. I've seen this kind of thing too many times. Do your parents still support you? If so, you need to figure out a way to end that, and then start demanding your own autonomy. I'm a mom of kids in their early 20s. Most of their independence came when they took it for themselves. It was how I knew they were ready. By the time they went to college, they were managing their own lives, and the only thing I pay for right now is car insurance. They pay for their own education, travel, rent, and all other living expenses. This means when they decide to take off for Mexico for spring break, I have zero say, and my only input is be safe. You need to tell your mom that calling your work is not okay, and that she is embarrassing you. Tell her you are an adult, and she needs to please not do that ever again. Start treating your parents the way another adult would treat them. That the child will be unable to perform the duties themselves. I have literally told her mom the reason I will not hire her son is because A, she wrote his resume, and B, she showed up to the interview with him. She got super pissed and wrote a review and everything. Completely oblivious to how bad she made her son look and how she was affecting his ability to get employment. It was one of the most awkward experiences I have had. The thing that gets me about helicopter parents like this is they always think what they are doing is helping/getting their child forward in some way. Like, no, if you look a little harder at the effects of your actions, you're crippling them. What would really help your child is slight guidance and encouragement while they figure shit like this out on their own, so they can learn, grow into a fully formed and functional person. We had a guy in our office whose dad came in to do his salary negotiation. He did not get a raise. No way. How old was the guy? That's pretty sad. IDK. Early 20s. His dad scored him another job, and he quit not long after. It would not fucking surprise me if his dad was writing his reports. Offer his dad a job at 2% over what the son makes, if he can defeat his boy in gladiatorial combat. Dang it, why is ours calling me again? Then fire the winner a week later because at will employment. As a teenager who just started working last month, I can't even imagine how someone would even want their parents to apply for them. I imagine most kids would be embarrassed by it and not want it to happen, but with parents like that they learn that it's easier to not rock the boat and let the parents do their thing. Maybe it's a generational thing. I'm in my 30s, and when I was a teenager we didn't want anything to do with our parents. This LPT should be addressed to the parents, not the teenagers. No teenager wants their parents to apply for a job for them. In most cases, the reason parents are applying for them is because they want their kids to have a job more than the kid does. Inquiring if we are hiring is a different story. In my case I was 14 or 15, the legal age for hiring was 16, but I had fallen in with a bad crowd and my parents were forcing me to work a few towns over where I was unlikely to be seeing those friends. TBH, it was a good move on their part. One ended up enjoying work, still found bad crowd people to hang out with, but hanging out with them at a job vs wherever kept it a bit safer. Thanks for watching this video. Like, subscribe, and hit the bell to see more interesting video. Goodbye.